welcome to today's episode of Hello Africa. I'm your host, Ade, and of course, I'm not doing the show alone today. I have with me favorites.
Hello guys, welcome to another edition of Hello Africa, brought to you by Blackburn TV. Of course, it's been an amazing week for us, and today we promise to give you an amazing show. We have interesting topics to treat today, and of course we have top stories to address as well. And of course we have good Big Brother updates for you.
And also sports updates as well.
Yes, sports updates, and I think we also have good red facts, interesting red facts for you. But whatever the case may be, you know what to do. Just join us on the show via the link in the description. And of course, leave your comments so we can also read out your comments and hear your contributions to all the topics we're going to be treating today. Of course, our very own Nita will join us on the show. As for now, we're just going to start without her. But when she comes in, she'll join us. And yeah, don't forget to join us with your comments. We'll dive into our headlines straight up. The first one says EFCC dissociates self from Monfa's claims.
I mean, we've not sorted out Kyari's issue with Hushppupi.
Yeah.
And then there's Monfa
comes
and
out.
EFCC.
Yeah.
Right? During the Instagram live show interview with Daddy Freeze, and Monfa claims that, and I quote, rather, that, Ismaila Mustafa claims that EFCC called him to advise him to lay low after Hushppupi's arrest. And I'm thinking, why would an anti-graft agency out to arrest fraudsters call a fraudster
and tell him to
advise him to lay low?
Very awkward.
It's a very controversial something because, I mean, it doesn't sit well.
It doesn't sit so well. I mean,
what is happening?
Honestly, and for me, it's been that these guys have been coming out to make different comments. Daddy Freeze also made statements about not being in a position to face any of he wasn't ready to, or he was ready to face the Interpol. He was ready to tell them, okay, if they needed or any information as
Monfa?
No, Daddy Freeze was speaking himself on social media too.
Wow.
Yeah, he was saying.
That's a bold claim.
Yeah, we also saw him say, if they wanted to come to him during his live session, say if they wanted to come to him, they should come. It's only people who had something to hide that would be afraid of.
That's Monfa's side of the story. Then EFCC, the spokesperson for EFCC, Wilson Uwujaren, I hope I pronounced that correctly, in a statement said, and I quote, that the claim, that's Monfa's claim, which did not mention the official of the commission who supposedly gave the advice, is spurious and should be discountenanced. I mean, we can't just leave that kind of statement, because why would he have mentioned, if it didn't happen, which I'm not saying it did, if it didn't happen, he wouldn't have mentioned it, right? And then somehow there are some questions I think we should ask. Questions like, is the EFCC compromised?
Yeah, of course.
Are there agents on these people's payroll? Right? And what steps are we going to take to, weed them out and hold them accountable?
Exactly. Because it was such a bold act for Monfa to come out.
Really?
Very bold to come and say.
I will say it.
Called to lay low. I mean, that's even implicating to say. I mean, what do you mean by lay low? What exactly are you
trying to
protect?
Tell us? What's happening? I hope again justice prevails anyway.
Course. All right.
On to the next story.
One.
Kyari can turn himself in if he's innocent. If he's innocent, says San. San in person of Muiz Banire made this statement. At first glance, I was like, Sir, why would you say that? But then after reading the story, it turns out it was Banire's own moral opinion. He believes that if you have nothing to hide, you should be able to come forward.
But then you have. I'm sure you have an alternative thought.
Well, logically speaking, if I was going to prove my innocence, or if I was going to claim innocence to any allegations, I would want to have evidence. Because this is not morally speaking. This is law, facts, and figures.
But then I feel like San already has a confidence in the Interpol team. Because there's always a saying that a person charged with a case, a defendant is always
innocent
until
proven,
otherwise proven guilty
beyond any reasonable doubt.
So I feel like, of course, if you were to walk up to them, you'll be able to say, they wouldn't even they wouldn't take you into custody until they have reasons to do that. And then no one is going to put you in any form of...
let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Will the Interpol
Yes.
and the FBI lay such claims without having enough evidence to book and arrest someone?
Well, if you feel like that's what I'm saying. So that's why the comment is made.
Okay.
If you feel you're innocent, because he's been trying to prove himself innocent all along. So that's what San is saying. If you are really trying to prove something, of course, then go out and tell these people.
Honestly,
are you saying he should stay in his shadows because...
No, what I'm saying is, if he's going to prove his innocence,
okay.
Now I'm not taking anyone's side, I'm just being logical. If he's going to prove his innocence, I want him to gather enough evidence to say, to tell the Interpol, like, I am innocent, this is the reason why I'm innocent. These are the evidences, these are the facts, the numbers.
He gave us one already. He said it was just the chat where he sold clothes.
Let's come on, let's not bring that in now. That's not... that can be dismissed.
I mean, that's what we saw on the internet. The internet proved that. He mentioned things like that.
It did. But what's sad for me now is the timing of all of this EFCC, Momfa, Kyari, Hushppupi is really sad. If you recall our last one of our last episodes where we spoke about the US, delaying sales of military-grade helicopters to help us fight insecurity because, Joe Biden wants to reevaluate his relationship with Nigeria. And here's a person, a fraudster, who has totaled a loss of about $24 million through fraudulent acts from the United States, through various, bank accounts and all of that. For me, it hurts the Nigerian image and
system,
and now that hurt or that damage is spilling to our international relations with other countries. Is that I just hope that at some point
all of this is taken off our face.
Amen.
This one says South Sudan swears in new parliament vowed under peace deal. Okay, so with the recent developments in South Sudan, bringing peace to South Sudan, they set up a parliament to curb all the insecurities and battles that have been going on. I'll call it battles because it's been on for over 5 years. And,
wow, that's a long time.
I feel like it's a good move for the leaders, the federal government.
The federal government, okay.
Yeah, making a decision with the rebels, so they've had this fight with the rebels and it's been on for a very long time. So definitely, because of the way the fight has been going, there hasn't been any proper set up yet team
for dialogue.
For dialogue,
negotiations and all of that.
And this was just the right move to put all of this in check. At this point now, all the judicial acts and lawmakers came together to say, let's be able to set up a team. And they all had this agreement.
Okay.
So they also had people, which this would help them be able to say, if there's a situation, we can be able to point fingers, we can be able to carry out proper judgment.
Hold people accountable for certain actions.
Yes.
I mean, the beautiful part is they're moving from violence to
how to curb
democracy and conversation, negotiate. So it's the right step, like you said, in the right direction.
Of course.
All right. The next story says, Kenya bars deputy president from private trip to Uganda. So basically, Kenyatta, the current president of Kenya, and Ruto, the deputy president, came into office in 2012. However, in 2018, rather, they had a fallout. They had a fallout, rather. Here's what's funny. There's now a rumor that Ruto, that's William Ruto, the current vice president, deputy president, wants to bid for presidency.
Okay.
But Kenyatta is alleged to be backing former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. So you see, it's somewhat a power play, political thing, and like okay, you're not backing who I'm supporting. You have your own personal interest in the office and all of that. But what I love about Ruto is his response. At Nairobi's Wilson's airport, he eventually, after having his flights cancelled after waiting for 5 hours, he tweeted and he responded, and I quote, "It's all right. Let's leave it to God."
I think
that's such a decent,
very decent response, not to inculcate any further misunderstanding.
And it goes to show his kind of person, his personality, and how he thinks. And I just hope they resolve their issues, though.
Okay, this one says, end of era for Chinese fish as Kenya seeks to ban importation. Wow. Okay, so I like this information. I like this news because when I saw this, I had to go look up what the Kenya fish market has been like.
Okay.
And just about this, I would like to also relate it to our petroleum industry bill that was recently released as well.
Okay.
So now the Kenyan government had sent a bill recently that stated that the foreign bodies that were trolling into their fish market had been over 80% off the fish market. So it's more like like they're having a high number. Yeah, they're having more encroachment into the business than the Kenyans, the
locals.
Do you understand? So the locals were not doing so much, and they said about with the amount of products they have in a month, the percentage that they were making locally was so little, and yet the foreign bodies that were also craving business were also making more money. Sure. And this isn't a very good thing for any country. I think that's what we were trying to do in our petroleum industry, that also brought about us having proper bills and the private sectors doing justice to it.
I mean, speaking on that, I mean, it's a step in the right direction to have Dangote's refinery come up at a time like this, because I mean, we really need to start refining our own petroleum products, and possibly, I mean, the resultant effect should be to be able to reduce the price in buying fuel and accessing petroleum and all of that. So the next top story is the Chinese city of Wuhan relaunches mass testing against COVID-19. I'd like you to share your thoughts on this one.
You know, one thing about this city is this was where the first ever case was. Like, I know this is where the whole problem originated.
You know what? The whole social media craze, social media craze that period was intense.
While Wuhan had been able to reduce the situation, I've been able to curb the whole situation, and you know, they had lots of cases and they were able to treat this, and things have been going on well until the Delta variants came on board, and since then it's caused lots of cities to return back to the lockdown, and this is really becoming a very disturbing thing for Wuhan, as cases have also gradually crawled into Wuhan. So
including as in this new Delta variant also.
Yes, exactly. So now the country has Wuhan has decided they should be able to carry out a new test for run a new test round mass test, yes, to be able to. And I think it's a good one, because once you are able to take these actions, you're able to deal with the situation in the best manner.
Trace the virus.
Yes, and I think it's something we should really leverage on as a nation. Yes.
Okay, leverage. Okay, I thought you were going to say Nigeria should step up.
I'll be able to. Yeah, we should be able to. But nevertheless, I mean, it's a good move.
It's a good move.
It's a good move. All right, so guys, thank you for joining us on the show. We'll be right back and we'll continue with our stories. Don't forget, it's Hello Africa, brought to you on Black Drum TV. We'll be right back.
For inquiries and partnership, contact Market. For my life, I go This show showcases interesting and cultural African parties from around the world. Come closer and experience the music, fashion, and the food that makes every party special. Showing weekly on Black Drum TV. For inquiries and partnership, contact marketing 0808-110-5907. Or you can send an email to marketing@blackdrum.tv.
welcome back. Of course, it's still Hello Africa, brought to you by Black Drum TV. I am Favor. I like to be called Favorite. And with me on the show today is...
DVC. Well, why don't you want to mention my name?
I don't know. I feel like I would rather call Nita first before calling your name.
Oh, wow.
But now,
wow.
I'll just go ahead and call. So, we've brought you a couple of stories that have been trending, and we have more. We'll just go into them. Stay with us on the show by joining us in the description on the screen. And this one says, UK returnee wears wedding dress to Nigerian church in hope of getting a husband. Wow.
Wow.
Very, very...
bold step.
Very bold step. And, I mean, she legit traveled from the US, from UK
the United
down
Kingdom.
to Nigeria with this wedding dress. It's a very, very weird thing to do.
I'm tempted
People
to
must
say
have
something.
said this is only done by blacks because it's a very brave thing. I can imagine myself having to wear my wedding dress all the way and just travel down.
Look, your own is easier now. You're going to wear a wedding suit. A tux, possibly, probably, and you know, no one would tell if it was used for a wedding or not. For a wedding dress?
I mean, and then traveling all the way down. And when she was asked, of course, she said, she went straight to the church and said it was a direction from God, you know.
Okay.
She had the leading from God.
If it was a direction from God, I'm not going to.
Yeah, we're not going to.
I have to say this, though. I have to say this. Nigerian ladies, they've not found husband for themselves. Do you understand? Yeah. Like, there are programs in churches where they pray that marital whatever must break, must happen.
Okay.
And you left the United Kingdom
with the hope that
of
you just
getting
step
husband.
into the church and get. So I was wondering, is it that I don't want to have to say certain things, but like, I mean, like, you just walk into the door and there's a husband standing
there,
already,
just waiting to say, will you marry me? You know, and I think, I mean, if it's a leading from God, I think coming to Nigeria was the first step. The second step now is how many prayers left, what church you're going to, what programs.
I mean, how long are you going to keep wearing the dress? Okay, moving on.
Nigerian man bags PhD scholarship in the United States after graduating with first class in mathematics.
That's a big congrats. That's a very good
Congratulations.
One. Yeah,
bagging a first class in mathematics. Wow. What next? Bagging a first class in electronics or applied physics?
That's a very
thermodynamics.
Good one. Wow.
I mean, it's a good one. Congratulations, repping Nigeria. It's really good.
This one says British government officials to meet IPOB leader in DSS custody, says his lawyer.
Very, very interesting. Now, let's not forget, Nnamdi Kanu is a British citizen.
Okay.
He has a British passport. Yeah. And when he was arrested with his British passport.
Of course.
Right? Not with his Nigerian passport, because I think his Nigerian passport had been seized or something like that. Okay. Now, it is only expected that, of course, the British High Commission would visit him. However, what their visit was about, we do not know the details for that yet. Yeah. But I think his lawyer released a statement that there are works to transfer him from DSS custody. They cannot permit
deprived him of this.
Yeah, you know, and anyone who wants to go visit him has to go through their lawyers. Yeah. Right, and lawyers will have other things doing, you know. So there has to be an arrangement of time that will be in sync with family and lawyer, and it's a whole of process and work. But I like the comments. He's of high spirits. He's,
they stated that they saw him and his
mindset is still strong.
That's still good.
So Nnamdi Kanu, stay strong.
Yeah.
And I hope
we hope to hear from you shortly.
Alive and well.
Yeah. This one says Zamfara Medical Service halted as resident doctors join nationwide strike.
Oh, very sad one.
Very sad.
And of course, when a public body or organization goes on strike, it's almost always associated with payment.
Yes. Why? And I have the question to this effect. Why is it that they always take on these strikes when we have very delicate health situations going on in the country?
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
In the United States, when COVID happened, there are a number of doctors who died.
Of course.
Not because they were careless, not because, but they were the front line, the first line of defense.
Liners, because we didn't know what
this was. So they were the first response. They attended to that, and that cost them their lives. Let's not forget the situation of the Ebola case. When it happened in Nigeria, the doctor who sacrificed her life to isolate the first carrier into Nigeria.
Of course.
All right. Now, if you're going to have people put their lives on the line every day, day in, day out,
be able to
and not just doctors, even military, right?
Yeah.
Putting their lives on the line day in, day out, you should make adequate preparations
Very vital
for
stuff.
their welfare.
Yeah.
All right. Now, medical correspondent reports that medical services have paralyzed since the strike started. The strike was embarked upon by the National Association of Resident Doctors, NA. And according to their state chairman, the association, there's the state chairman of the association, Dr. Hushppupi Haruna, he said, and I quote, that the failure of the government to implement the agreement reached last April over issues of 5,000 naira hazard allowances.
Very little.
Medical residency training funds, salary shortfall, among other demands, led to the indefinite strike. So it means that this strike does not have a fixed date until the government entertains, their plight and gives them a listening and there's a dialogue. But now the question is, how does the government intend to quickly resolve this issue? Remember, we are facing a pandemic. How do they intend to, to resolve this? And secondly, what strategies and facilities will be put in place to ensure that proper funding of the medical sector to prevent this kind of thing happening again?
Yeah, because for me, I feel like the federal government should be able to help and address these issues as regards the medical team, because the times we're in now, we've had rising cases, and it's not a very good time for them to take.
It's not a good time. We need all hands.
We need all hands in there. And like you said, because they put their lives on the line, they should also be accorded proper
welfare packages.
I mean, what's 5,000 naira for their welfare?
Hazard allowance.
Hazard allowance. That's
in a pandemic, facing a virus. That, I mean, come on. There's still Lassa fever that I've not found a cure for.
I mean, so let's just hope that they are given proper attention.
Yeah, exactly. Like the government should please
do something about them so they can go off. All
right, let's move to our next
strike. Moving on.
Federal government threatens to dismiss civil servants leaking official documents on social media. Now, this is a two-way thing. Let me start from the other controversial. I was listening to the radio while coming to work this morning, and I heard that the official documents that are being leaked, maybe those documents have people responsible for them.
Yes.
It's not like as if
they are
headless or point the top documents. If a document is coming from the oil sector, you know that this person and this person is responsible for this kind of information. So instead of coming out to say civil servants will be dismissed for leaking confidential. So document was released,
and it was from
this department. This person is in charge of this department,
and it should be held
accountable. Like, even if you don't know what, at least you should be able to give account for people under you.
Yeah, I mean, if a document is even released, it should be because the information was given. Do people just go and leak out?
Oh, people do go and leak out.
Well, maybe because of what they stand to
gain their personal interest, possibly.
But, I mean, if you, like you said, if someone is heading a department and something goes wrong in that department, they should be held accountable for it, not publicly saying you're threatening.
Be dismissed.
Okay. Moving on. So
our sports segments now.
Okay, we have one more. This one says snakes breeding business picks pace in Burundi. Whoa. No.
Why are you saying no?
I'm not a fan of snakes.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'm not.
You don't like eating them, or you don't like petting them?
Hello. What did you say?
Eating them or petting them?
No, thank you.
Actually, I look forward to petting a snake, though. Yeah.
You?
Yes, I look forward to
petting. You're the fragile one here.
You're the how am I fragile?
Of everything. I'm surprised you're saying this today.
No. There are snakes that do not have venoms or poison. You can pet them. You can hold them.
All snakes are dangerous.
Not all snakes are dangerous. You can pet some. Some are really, really colorful and attractive.
All snakes are dangerous. Please stay away.
Please don't be like this typical African man. Let's
be open-minded. As a matter of fact, on the news, we have that snakes should be okay. So this, so in Burundi, there was a report given that people have started to use snakes to make money, and rearing them is like a tourist attraction.
Okay, so that's interesting.
So a couple of persons have started rearing it, and they have taken it to a business level.
Wow.
That is rearing more numbers, different species, and having people, view them. And they also mentioned, like you said, or like BC just mentioned.
Oh, now you mention my name.
They are not dangerous. They are they are very okay, and they've been able to train them for a while to be able to get adapted to human presence. So this has been able to manage the situations of how much harm they would cause. But I'm one of those the few humans that would, even if you say you have taken away every danger in the snake, well, thank you. We would watch from afar.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much. So that is that. I mean, it's a very good one.
Who could have thought that you know snake breeding can become a tourist business?
Of course,
that will create employment and so.
Wildlife is like
exactly.
Everybody, as much as we're afraid of wildlife,
as much as you are afraid of wildlife,
as much as I am afraid of wildlife, I like to sometimes travel and see, and I'm sure a lot of people out there who are tourist inclined like to go.
That's a bold hobby from someone who's afraid of harmless snakes. But anyway, let's move on to our next story, please.
Anyways, all right. So I think that brings us to
sport updates. Before that, I think it's the BBN updates, right?
No, let's take
the sport. Okay, so we'll take our sports updates first, and before we continue with our sports updates, we'll quickly go on a short break, and we'll be right back with sports updates, BBN updates, and we'll introduce you to our hot topic for the day. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to Hello Africa. If you've just joined us, we have just concluded our top stories, and now we are in the sports segment, and of course we'll be moving to the BBN updates, and we'll introduce you to our hot topic for today. But right now, we're going, like I said, with the first story for our sports, which is African Cup of Nations to take place in Cameroon as planned. And of course, if you notice, I didn't mention someone was beside me in today's show because the person too did not mention me the first time.
It's okay.
So it's 1-1 half time. All right, so African Cup of Nations to take place in Cameroon as planned. All right, now the African Cup of Nations is to commence in January 9 of 2022 and will conclude on February 6, 2022 with the final in the capital city of Yaoundé. Now, the rumor of Cameroon hosting African Cup of Nations, that as it happened in 2019 when it got cancelled was dismissed by the Secretary General of the Confederation of African Football, that's CAF, Veron Mosengo, I hope I pronounced that correctly, during a 48-hour visit to Central African countries. So it's really interesting to see that it's dismissing it's dismissing the rumor like, no, it's happening in Cameroon, it's going to stay in Cameroon. And I mean, Cameroon is well fitted to host one of Africa's greatest sports.
And we're sure they're making proper preparations
especially putting COVID protocols in place. Okay,
this one says Shoemaker wins gold for South Africa, breaks world record. Wow.
Her name was quite a handful.
That's a very good one. That was a swimming competition, and she had won over her other colleagues or her other contenders with a front stroke, a chest stroke.
Wow.
And that brought her a gold medal. That's really interesting.
Really interesting. World record, is it like including Michael Phelps?
Yeah. She just did. I mean, if I was going to commend her effort, I mean, you should have seen how much energy.
Are you seeing the look on her face?
Yeah, she was. That's the expression. Like, you needed to see the fierce approach she used before, and lots of people have been on the lookout for her because she has been like a continuous contender for quite some years now, and this was really amazing. It was a brave move for her. Moving on to
LeBron James extends Los Angeles Lakers contract for $85 million. Cha-ching! And of course, if you've been conversant with our show, you know that I love to talk about the money aspects of assets and every other thing. I mean, financially speaking, James, who turns 36 later this year, this August rather, is set to make about $39.2 million, $41.1 million, and $44.4 million for the year 2020 to 21, to 21 to 22, 22 to 23 respectively. And by the end of this extension, James' NBA contract will approach, his total career earnings will approach $435 million. But now here's what's more impressive is James' stats, right? Okay. James currently ranks number 3 on NBA career scoring list with 34,241 points, which is 4,146 points shy from Kareem Abdul